You gotta unmute us. Yeah.
Hi, welcome back to High Consciousness Podcast. Hello, I was like, what's happening? Well, that's a great start. Hi to our listeners. Thank you for coming through, listening, and staying with us. I know we've been gone for a little while. There's a lot of the good, exciting things happening outside of here in our lives, and we decided to take a pause. We also decided to give our special guests this time around that time. Some of them were in school. Some people were on vacation. Some birthdays happened. We'll shout them out in a few. But I just want to thank every guest that has shown up and has been able to actually make it through this time around. We wanted to continue the conversation around relationships, partnership. We had our men panel, our women panel, our lesbian and heterosexual views. And, I feel like as though that was a perfect example of what going here on a panel can do for our community, and just have those uncomfortable conversations. But now we're going to dive deeper. This is definitely going to be a longer episode. It may be at some point split as well if it gets overloaded. We've gotten the feedback that that's just a lot better, and we are continuing. T, welcome. Anything you want to say to our guests and to the people that are listening?
Again, welcome back. Thank you guys for sharing your time with us. Your opinions are valid and welcomed, and we're gonna have a very good show today and just have fun. It's a great day, great weather. There's no reason to stress about life. Don't worry about it. It'll pass.
Yes, it will. It definitely will. And summer's here. At least we're in Jersey, so it's getting hot. Thought out. You know what I'm talking about is what we're gonna talk about today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so we're just gonna get started. What did I have on the agenda? The recap. Let's talk about the recap. So on the recap, the last few episodes we've come this far from a poll. Now, this is just a segue in series in terms of High Consciousness Podcast. Typically, our podcast is mainly about educational purposes, conspiracy theories, anything that we have researched and we want to educate our whoever wants to listen on. Call to action. We made it happen. So essentially, we had the courage to empower you, the one that came on, our guest, to be able to talk about these conversations and hear more about your perspectives, and that's what we're here for. And then two, just we're now diving deeper. So yeah, so let's get to it. I do want to shout out T Money. His birthday was last weekend. Shout out to Hassan. His birthday was this month as well. So I hope y'all enjoyed y'all time. And yeah, T, hit us with a quote.
Definitely did. All right. We got a quote from this lovely book that we referenced before, The Alchemist, written by Paulo Coelho.
Okay. I love that book. Wow, you actually said his last name correctly. I've never been able to say his last name. You know how that go? That Spanish in me, you know what I'm saying?
He's Spanish. I'm gonna let her fly.
I know, that's the crazy part. I've always been afraid to say it wrong. I have the same issue at work. I won't yell somebody's name because I'm just like...
Sorry, just have that confidence from the chest.
Word.
Right? Okay, but the quote is, "It is we who nourish the soul of the world, and the world we live in will be either better or worse, depending on whether we become better or worse. And that's where the power of love comes in. Because when we love, we always strive to become better than we were."
Damn, that was deep. That's like a great way to start this, because it's true. Everything's powered by love, no matter how you see it. So what do you think about that quote? How does it sit with you?
Honestly, it's about taking accountability about your position, where you are.
For sure.
Everybody has, wherever they are in life, you play an important part, an important role, whether it's your family, your job, your friends. It's unfortunate that people would, really keep to themselves and want to, YouTube purposes, self-delete themselves and think that it's not going to affect anything around them. Just something of that scheme.
Yeah, no, that's facts. Accountability is a very big part, especially in relationships. Like, if you don't have that and you're not trying to be better, it's very hard to continue that partnership, which is what it is. It's a partnership. So, to say least, I'm going to go ahead and get our guest up on the panel. So, we're going to start off with just adding y'all. Please, we are going to go from top, middle row, and then bottom to introduce yourselves. Gotta say much. Just name. Fun fact.
Fun fact. Who wants to start? Hassan, that means you. Come on.
Or anything that you feel as though, you want to add to today's episode.
It doesn't matter, bro. You came back. You could be like,
right,
hey,
you did.
I'm back. You know what I'm saying? I got a cat on my lap. I'm here for it.
Yeah, my name's Hassan. I have a cat that won't leave me alone. He's 2 years old. So that's that.
Baby.
All right. So then, Ariel, what's up, man? Welcome back.
Yo, welcome back. Oh, we can't hear you.
Hold on. Got you.
Oh, yeah. Unmute.
All right, cool. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
My name's Ariel. Fun fact, I recently just, in the subject of cats, I recently just started getting into cats. I was not a big cat person at first, and then I don't know what the vibe is with cats, but I was just watching videos and I was like, yo, these little wild creatures are so interesting.
They are.
I guess that's a new fun fact for me.
That's definitely a fun fact. I didn't
Hassan knows the vibe.
He definitely he
knows the vibe.
he been on the vibe for 2 years. He's been a dad for 2 years. So he got some tips for you whenever you get there.
All right. Whammon.
Hello. I'm Diamond. Fun fact, my last name used to be Stone. It is now Hodge. But yeah,
Woo,
that's my fun fact.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Angelica. It's probably a little windy right now. A fun fact, if you don't know, I'm actually a boy mom. So I have a son. He'll be 2 actually in August.
Yeah, that Leo power. Not that I care or anything, but this is a lot about us.
Gav, welcome back. What up, bro?
What up, man? How is everything?
It's doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. Just working like everybody else. But I'm Gavin, but everybody calls me Gav. And fun fact, a lot of people don't know that I'm left-handed for some reason. So I know that's not a big thing, but
Wow, we've been friends this long, and I did not know that.
Come on,
Yeah.
Hassan.
Damn, I need
so
to do
if you
better.
ever take a repair after me and my screws are all weird, that's probably
because you
why.
left-handed.
'Cause I'm left-handed.
Okay.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, I can't even give him feedback no more. It's over.
Right, that's it. Like, damn, my man, it ain't even on him. It's in him.
Not his fault. Just born this way. Got you.
Jambi, welcome back. Great seeing you.
Hey.
Hello. So we
Oh,
just
shoot.
fun
Go ahead.
fact.
So my fun fact is I love dogs and cats and all kinds of animals. I'm a big animal lover. Yeah, that's my fun fact.
You'd get along with Diamond. She has reptilians and
You got any
iguana.
animals? I was about to say.
I have a dog. He just turned 6 in March.
What kind of dog?
He is a mix of lab and Pomeranian. So like he is a little tiny than a lab, but he looks like a lab, but he also has like a body of a Pomeranian.
That's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my Zoe just turned 7, so I understand that like
Oh.
age. Yeah, I'm like, I don't want you to keep getting old. Please.
I just want them to stay like a baby. Just stay a baby.
I
That's all.
know, literally. All right. Well, thank all of you for sharing, and definitely had some laughs there. Fun facts I didn't even know, so that was exciting. Only a few. Okay, so let's dive right in. So first, let's get this out the way. Who here agrees that dating and relationships are different, or if you agree that they're the same? Explain why. Now, I don't really want to have it all organized to whoever goes. I don't care. Just answer the question. I would love for everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, hold on. we can start. Let's start with the ladies first.
Okay, perfect.
Right. In the same little order, and then we'll get the guys in that order.
Okay, so then it would be me, Diamond, Angelica, Johnny. Then you. Hassan.
What a gentleman!
Okay. Look at that. That's perfect. I love that. You see what brainstorming does. So for me, I don't agree that relationships and dating are the same thing. To me, dating is more of that stage of getting to know you, really looking into to see if you will be my girl. Now with me and dating, like now that I'm more like I'm older and a lot more wiser, I see it more as if you're talking to people, cool. Like if I'm talking to people, cool. You know, if eventually me and you want to be something, then that's a conversation that has to happen. And then from there on, if that's something that I decide and we both decide, then we can go into the relationship aspect of it. Now, I do believe relationships can be seen differently as a word, but this is more of a romantic aspect of it. So that's just how I view it.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your input. I'm kind of on the same vibe. Like I think they're definition wise different for a reason. I think yes, dating is more of that like getting to know somebody type of space. Literally 9 times out of 10 you have to put a title on it for it to be a relationship, although a lot of people live in denial and just think that they're in a relationship when they're not. But usually it has to be a spoken thing. So I think until it's spoken about, it's considered dating. And when it's done being spoken about, we have an agreement, then it's a relationship.
I agree to that.
I could agree with that. I think I'm the same way in the sense of like dating and relationships. I think dating is like you're trying to fill out if this is a person you kind of want to spend the rest of your time with. So it kind of plays into the factor of like, I got to date you to see like your vibe, to see where your mindset is. Because one, I'm not getting any younger, so I don't want to waste time with someone that's not worth it. And in a relationship, it's like, you know, it's all or nothing sometimes. Like you want to put that effort into that one person that's worth it. So yeah, it's definitely different for me.
That whole wasting time is a gem.
Yeah, I think dating for me is trying to get to know the person, and then relationship is when you're actually like into it, giving all into it.
Yes. All right, men. Y'all turn. It's okay to disagree here, okay? In anything, in any topic that we speak about today, it's okay to disagree.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Oh, man. I agree with Javi on that one. Like, dating definitely is more about getting to know the person, people in general, figuring out what do you like personally, what's your boundaries, and the list goes on and on. You tend to figure out, okay, I kind of like these traits in this person or a person I can see myself with. And when you start to get to know a person, even just as a friend, you tend to see traits in them that you wouldn't even want to be around. And I do think that's good. You can get that from dating, but relationships are completely a different story. Like you have some type of value you're exchanging with each other. You know, you're committed to this person. You damn near emotional ties to this person, man or woman, like it doesn't matter. So there's a different degree to that. You're not getting into relationships with everybody you meet. You know, it's one of those things. But you can definitely
It's very true.
get all the traits and everything and all your red flags and just see it just by dating.
Word. The red flags is definitely something to look out for.
Is this a question of like what my personal my thing is, or how it actually is?
Yeah, bro. Well, how do you see it?
How
How
do
do you
you see
perceive
it?
it?
The
How do
way
you
I see it
perceive
is the
it?
way like everybody here, like, one's a testing phase, the other one's a, hey, we're gonna make this work phase.
Do you
How it
think that
is?
it's different how it is?
Yes.
Okay,
A
go ahead.
lot of people these days be taking it like, oh, I'm in the relationship. Oh, I'm still testing the waters here because they be having like a roster on the side or they keep something on the side to like
Mm,
be a fallback option. That's the reality of it.
that is true,
It's
especially
a
especially in women. Well, I say that in women that in terms of what they experience, like they experience that, and even men is too. Like I'm not taking that away, but I feel like it's also mainly seen in like that guy that's not sure of whether or not. Even in my own community too. Like I even at some point was like that. Like I was just like, yeah, like I don't know, like you know what I'm saying? Like yeah, I'm in it, but I don't even know if I've dated people and I've dated people, then I got in a relationship and I'm like, why did I do that? Like why did I do that? So sorry, Ariel, your turn.
So yeah, I agree with everyone here. I feel like it's two separate things. And even me, I'm guilty of it in the beginning of like my relationship. It was like I wasn't very how do I say this? I wasn't very clear and concise, and I feel like women want that assurance of like, hey, are you gonna be with me or without me? Or because it's very easy to just like because we all have relationships with people, not in that way, but we all have relationships that we build with people we trust. We become friends, and maybe friends become something else. So I think it's very important to have that boundary of like, okay, are we just friends or are we gonna move on with life together? So definitely two separate things. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, the boundary is important for sure. Gav, got a Jets fan here, by the way, guys. Just letting you know. Oh, we can't hear you.
Do I unmute myself when I go to speak, or are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, you can unmute yourself. So
Okay.
anybody, you can unmute yourself. If it becomes an issue, I'll unmute you.
All right, got you. I mean, I don't really disagree with anything anyone said. I agree. I just think maybe I guess I would add that during the dating phase is kind of where you want to establish, like what you're looking for. Are you going to be talking to other people? That sort of stuff. So once you're in a relationship, especially if you're in a monogamous one, by that point you should already kind of have that figured out. So, but I agree with everybody else.
But that's what I was saying about the boundary thing. Like I could be perfectly fine with a dude comes up to you and says, "Hey, like, I really fuck with you. Pardon me. I'm down with you. I bang with you, whatever. But I'm gonna be with other chicks. I love you. I'll be back to you. I'll come home to you. But every once in a while, I'll step out." You can't get upset at that dude. He's not cheating on you. He told you what he's gonna do.
Ooh.
The difference is, there's not a lot of people that's willing to even say that.
Yeah.
Do that. So it's cheating.
Or even stick by it too, because.
Yep.
Any other thoughts of anybody want to piggyback about what anybody said here?
I think on the topic of what he just said, like people that say it from the beginning, then somehow it goes completely unheard, and then when they do the action, they're like, "Oh, I didn't see this coming." Like,
yeah.
A lot of people will tell you from the very beginning how they're going to be in a relationship or a scenario, whatever it may be. But some people just, I guess they see potential, and they get lost in that.
Yeah.
No, they're just selfish. They're just selfish. They heard what you said and they just said, okay, well, this is what I want, and then they just hope that you're gonna conform to it. Especially women, we're like, oh my god, like he's gonna fall for me. I'm just gonna do these things so much different than 1, 2, and 3. He's just gonna need me. It doesn't work that way. He told you who he was. You didn't want to listen.
And we can see it all the time in some certain celebrities too. Like, I don't know how many times do we have to bring our Future or Nick Cannon or NBA YoungBoy or anybody like that has 6, 7, 8 baby mamas. and then you think you're gonna be the next one to be like, he got me, lock him down.
But I feel like I experienced that in a way of, and I've experienced it a lot now. The only other person that can back me up is Angelica, whatever perspective you own. But to me, is more of falling for potential in women, and at the same time, also because there can come a wave of attention. I used to not have discernment to the point of like, there's a difference between being eligible and being available. Like, there's a difference, I feel like with eligible, like, you have to know what you want to a certain extent to know what is it that you're going to receive, and like what you attract is also not what you receive. So I feel like sometimes people get so caught up into like, yeah, I want to talk this, that, and the third, like, yeah, maybe I like him so much or I like her so much that I'm gonna change them or I'm gonna be the reason why. And it's like, no, like in reality, you're just, like Hassan said, falling into potential. So it's a whole different
that was
spectrum of it. But either way, thank you for sharing. And I just wanted to share those thoughts because I say all of that to say communicating effectively and listening, and then creating that choice is all really your, like, the accountability aspect to that. So I don't know who's unmuted. I think it was, I heard, I think it was just the music. I heard a dog. I was like, what? So all right, so we're gonna move to sharing a clip. This is gonna be Jordan Peterson, and I'll share the question after I share the clip. Just give me 1 second, please.
Gotcha.
Oh hell no! It's telling me I can't share without recording live. Hold on.
While recording live?
Yeah, hold on. I think it worked.
Is it a file?
Can you guys see it? Well, sorry. I'm not like, hold on.
You need to change the thing to screen layout or picture to picture.
Window. Brave tap. Hold on. Can you see?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So it's going to be a 5-minute clip, and then we're going to share thoughts after.
Strange. So what advice can you give to people who are looking to have a strong
even decline
relationship with someone?
What happened?
No, go ahead.
Well, the first thing is to decide if that is really what you want.
Is that fair, do you think, to say, I want to be single forever? Do you think that's realistic or fair assessment of oneself?
I think that's, for most people, a pathway to insanity.
Yeah.
The psychoanalysts used to think that, and we all think this way in some ways, that you're sane because you're well put together. Your psyche is well structured, right? It's internal, somehow inside your head. But, and there's some truth in that, but here's a more accurate viewpoint, I think. You outsource most of your sanity because it's too complicated. And so what you do is your parents raise you to be vaguely acceptable to other people. And then you're surrounded by other people your whole life. And then every time you go off the rails a little bit, even just a little bit, people signal to you. Like, you make a joke, it's not that funny, and people don't laugh. And you think, oh, well, I should probably rethink my sense of humor a little bit or pay more attention. Or you tell a rambling story and you notice that everyone's like lost in the distance. And so if you're civilized enough so that people don't shun you and you have people around you, then they're going to be always telling you how to not be too insane. Well, if you're alone, you drift. You drift, and you'll drift in the direction of your biggest weakness. And so, there are some people, maybe they're introverted and disagreeable. They're not cut out for a lot of social contact. But we're social animals, man, right to the core.
Sure.
And it's a suboptimal solution for the vast majority of people.
Mhm.
I think that people are having a harder time finding, like, let's call them more permanent relationships, is because it's become increasingly easy to have fleeting, casual sexual relationships. I mean, Tinder is a revolution, right? It's a revolution in sexual behavior, and it's certainly not obvious that it's a
Is
one
is it a social thing? Is it just technology? Is this what people want to be doing? Because you think the
It's
fleeting,
easier.
yeah,
in some ways.
but the technology has enabled this fleeting sexual.
Oh,
activity.
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. And that's,
But
we don't want to underestimate how radical a technology that is. That's especially for men.
I do feel that deep down that all these people, men and women alike, are always longing for something more meaningful.
Well, I think that that's generally the case. I mean, part of the reason for a relationship is sexual contact, obviously. Well, that's that you don't necessarily need a relationship for that. But that's not the reason to be with someone. The reason to be with someone, when there's a lot of them. So one is, well, kids who have two parents do far better, period. The data on that is crystal clear. It doesn't mean that there aren't many single parents who struggle to do a wonderful job. Right?
Yeah.
That's not the same thing. It's an average issue. So you need, plus, it's a lot of work to have kids. You kind of need to divide up the labor, especially in the first year or two, because the woman is completely overwhelmed in the first year, and she needs somebody around to take care of her while she's taking care of the kid, fundamentally, or at least that's the way it looks to me. So there's that. You need the stable basis for children, and it takes them a long time to mature, and they need to learn that relationships are trustworthy, right? So there's utility and stability there. But then also, you kind of want to tangle your life together with someone, because you have someone well, it's like two ropes that are tangled together. It's stronger, especially during times of weakness. And you have two brains instead of one. And that actually turns out to be really helpful when
Sure.
things are complicated. And it builds a solidity into your life and a reality into your life to have someone who's along with you on this very long voyage. And so I think that deepens your life in a way that isn't really possible with fragmentary relationships as a single person.
Definitely.
And then there's more to it than that. It's like, I think of wrestling. There's this scene in the Old Testament where Jacob wrestles with an angel. He's wrestling with God, actually, which is quite an interesting. That's what Israel means, right? Wrestling with God. Yeah, that just blew me away when I learned it. It's so
Is that true?
The true people
And
of
Hebrew?
Israel are those who wrestle with God.
Wrestle
Yeah,
with
it's
God.
not believe exactly. It's a whole different thing, man. It's a whole different thing. And
Isn't
so,
it like fear from God? What it means? That's what I thought.
Okay. Go back. All right.
Gotcha.
If you don't mind adding the question. So, again, this is more of what your thoughts are. I don't want to circle around and pick somebody or leave it up to you guys to tell me what you guys think about that. And the question is it is it important to gain dating rather than getting in a relationship? And then the second one would be well,
Oh. Well, I guess we will not know what the second one was.
We're not gonna know what the second one is.
I didn't hear the first one. I was gonna ask her to repeat it.
There's a little tab on the bottom. That's where I got mine from.
Linda, I got you. Stop it. Stop. I got
She's
you.
trying to host.
yo, can you put the question up? It's not there. Is the second part of what are your thoughts? It's about the Jordan Peterson one.
What second question? You read like 3 questions in one question, right?
Yes. So so then it would be this, I guess. Do you think it has become harder to have meaningful relationships? Has it always been hard?
How am I supposed to know that's the second question?
It's okay. I sent you the script, literally.
That's-
That the script
Don't-
is how
You
it
didn't
goes.
study.
Don't do this.
You didn't study right. You looked over and then you're like, okay.
All right.
First of all, this is the third question, so don't start doing math on me. Talking about this is the second question.
All right, so what do you have as the first? Because I can't move right now. I can't swipe because then I'm gonna swipe myself out.
The host
Remember when
is
you said
stuck.
so? Remember, okay, we're doing this live. Remember when you said so? First, guys, let's get this out the way. Who here agrees that dating and relationships are the? That's the first question.
Yeah. So what's the second? I can't see.
Is it important to gain relationships?
That's
Or
what it
the
was.
im-
I skipped something. Sorry, guys. Hello. Well, listen, we can answer that first, and then we can go back to the thoughts of
Let's answer the Jordan Peterson one first because it's fresh.
It's
and-
fresh. Yeah, I don't want nobody to like forget what he just
Yeah.
said.
For clarity, what question is that one?
That one would be, do you think it has become hard to, the one that's up right now, become hard to meaningful relationships and has always been hard? Two, just what are your thoughts on what he stated? Like, he said a lot. He stated also
It was a
on,
lot.
being single. Like, I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's healthy and at all. And there's women out here that really think that way, so.
I guess I'll go.
Anybody?
I don't.
Angie, you could go next.
My bad, girl. My bad.
No, go ahead. She raised her hand. See, she has
She was in class. She
etiquette.
had the etiquette.
She has
Yeah.
etiquette on whether
I'm over here like, hello. I feel like it is harder to build quote unquote meaningful. And I always say this because I feel like not enough people are transparent enough with each other. I call it a gift at this point. I have the gift of transparency. I am very transparent to the point where I might hurt your feelings. I'm so transparent. But I feel like we're lacking a lot of that nowadays. People like to sugarcoat, step all over things. So unfortunately, we make friendships and relationships that we think are meaningful due to trying to make the other person comfortable. But in hindsight, it's not what you thought it was. I think that happens more of the time than not. And I also think that in that same breath, everybody wants to just like get along with everybody, and just not everybody's for everybody. I think we would have more meaningful relationships if somebody just got to a point where they were like, this was cool, not really feeling it, see you later. That way you can weed out. But has it always been hard? No. I feel like with the rise of technology and social media, it's been really hard. We don't want to like say hi to each other on the street anymore. We barely know our neighbors. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely guilty as to not wanting to get to know my neighbors. I mean, I don't care for it, but seeing you guys just be more vocal to the people around us does help me. That's something I'm currently struggling with. Like, I think that I go into work and I'm constantly talking to people, and then at some point I just get tired of it, and I'm like, I really, like, once I clock out, I really don't want to talk for like another 2 days, and then we can do this again. But as long as it's my job, is more like I get paid for it, so it's a little bit more easier for me. But I to be transparent, I've clocked out of society for a second, and this is why I also have the panel to put me back in a place of being open to everyone. Like, this is not only just for like fun for me, like this is also a challenge within itself. So I need it as well. So that's why I put myself out there. But I do believe that it has become harder, and just like as he stated, is mainly because everything's so sexual nowadays. Like, people are just so quick to run to sex. But Angie, go ahead and you can share your thoughts.
I was about to say, I like how you cut her off. It's cool though.
No, it's fine.
No, she ain't cut. I cut myself off, all right?
Honestly, with this question, it's kind of like it's confusing a little bit. You got to think about it, because if you're talking about meaningful relationship, what kind of meaningful relationship? You know what I mean? Are you talking about a relationship that I'm going to be with this person for 5 years, 10 years, or are you talking about I'll be with this person for right now? Because sometimes we get in a relationship and it's just for the season. People are seasons, and sometimes that season ends and we got to learn how to let go. And we don't. We hold on because at that moment they feel like home, but our home has left. So that's something that we got to remember, because we look at older generations, like our grandparents that have been married 50 something years, and we want something like that. But we have to remember technology. It goes into, again, technology plays a big factor in it, because back then they didn't have technology. You had to be face to face. You had to sit down and have those deep conversations and those horrible conversations, you know what I mean? And they walk out the room, but they're still there. Nowadays, people walk out the room and they're already on their phone, making a Tinder account, making the Bumble account. You know what I mean? And it's like you're sitting there wondering, are you guys gonna fix it or work things out, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm fighting society. That's where we, as generations changes, is like technology overpowers a lot of relationships because it's easy access. You know what I mean? People got OnlyFans and you paying that subscription because your girl's shaking it, you know, and it's like you want your partner to do all those things. Back in the day, that's how you looked at your partner. That person walked in the room and you just like, your breath would be breathless. You know what I mean? Like you got butterflies in your stomach and stuff. And it's like, where did those little romantic things stop? When did it stop?
Yeah.
You know, so that's where this whole meaningful relationship, like what you got to think about, like what are we talking about? What type of meaningful relationships nowadays?
Yeah, you circled back around to exactly what Jordan Peterson said in the beginning of the statement, which is if that's what you want, or what is it that you want. And I think that I know that nowadays a lot of people don't know what that is. And they'll just do it because of the attention, because it's easy, because you're here. And then when it comes down to the real work, nobody's really willing to be like, okay, yeah, that's what meaningful means to me. It does start by knowing what that means to you, and how does that look like in your life. Whether that means you want to be together for 5, 10, forever, get married, not get married, or like have those agreements from the beginning, and look for those agreements. Because if you don't have those agreements, then where are we going, and what does this mean?
Again, it's that transparency piece.
All right.
I do think right now there is like a rise in like a problem with people quitting. Like people are so quick to like be like, yeah, I'm out. Like, I guess, I mean, social media has taught people like, yo, if it doesn't serve you, on to the next. But in
right.
reality, like, nothing serves anybody. Like, it's a choice. Do you want to or do you not want to? And because of that, like, you on Instagram right now, and this, like, as soon as a girl breaks up, all you see in her story is, oh, you don't need anybody but yourself. You don't need anybody but this. But in reality,
but it's so true.
So
no,
relatable.
but I'm serious. No, but like, because I was talking to Lynn the other day. Like, animals work off instinct. They don't have like anything else but instinct. What they were made to do. If you get a cat, if you get a dog, you're gonna notice your dog is always up your ass because they need a society. They need to be social with something. If animals who work off instinct need to be social, then what
makes
what
us
are we
any
doing here?
different?
Yeah, like if anything, we need it even more because animals, to a certain degree, they're on autopilot for the most part.
Yeah,
but like humans, like
Doge.
yeah, like they have to abide.
I'll never look at Brian the same.
Oh God.
Hassan will probably never look at his cat the same.
I'm
Like,
telling you right now.
Now we're gonna look at our animals and be like, "Fuck, it's deeper than what we think."
No,
She's my friend.
Lynn, because what's crazy, is every time I come home, my cat greets me the same exact way.
You see
every time I go to
consistency.
sleep.
First of all, let's give that out. Consistency. What we need more of. Like,
bro, every single time I see him, he treats me like it's the first time I've ever met him, and it's great. But like, where is that energy outside of my cat?
That ass. That's it. Period. That's where it ends. This is so true. It's so true. Anybody else want to dive
We need
into
more
that?
autopilot humans.
I do want to say that I do agree to Hassan's point. Facts. Even with memes, and this is not talked about, but there's memes out there that I read, and after I figure out what I need and like what I want, and I go search it in a book or something, like hear it in a podcast, and I'm like, okay, like reflect and resonates with me. I'll be looking at memes that be talking about oh, you don't need nobody, or like just like making it seem like it's okay to be single. And I'm just like, you see, like, this is the power where social media either can be good for you or bad for you, especially if you don't know where you're going, who you are, what do you want. Like, you can be easy influence in a heartbeat, and then you choose your path and then you're messed up. Like, but this is what's been happening. This is the circumstances of that, like the consequences, I mean, sorry.
I have a question though. With something Lynn said, like, we think being single, like he said something about being single, like being single, it's, you can't be single forever. Like he's saying, like it's kind of wrong to be single forever, but technically, being single and having self-love is two different things too. It's two different things. When you find your self-love and you find love for yourself, that single part does not matter anymore, because you want to make sure the next person, if you decide to be with that next person, can love you the way that you love yourself. And that's why sometimes being single, no one can amount to that love that you have for yourself. So I think when he said that, I kind of disagree with him, because there's people in this world that I know that are single, but they are so happy because the love that they have for themselves is immensely, like no one can ever come close to that besides someone above. You know what I mean? So I think when people say, "Oh, you're single," like, "Damn, you've been single for 5 years." Like, what's wrong with that? Our society is so like, you need to be in a relationship, you need to be married, you need to have a cat. You need to have a kid. You need to be,
Yeah, facts. Hassan, you're rubbing up on me.
Like the white picket fence. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the thing, is our society puts like instill like you have to be these things, but we're breaking chains. Like our generations are breaking chains over and over. Like when I was growing up, my parents were married and it's a husband and wife. I'm a lesbian. I'm not by their rules, so I'm already breaking that chain of like the society of norm. You know, so being single, I think now it's becoming an idea of people like kind of understanding it more, that it's okay to be single and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not, I'm gonna shun you because you're single and I'm at home with my son and my wife. Like that's okay, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna love you any less. So I think that's where we have to understand, is like being single, it's okay.
I'm just gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate when you're done.
Well, before you go, I do
Yeah,
want
go
to
ahead.
say that he did state that, you know, it's not a forever thing. And I do believe that there's a balance. And I say that because I'm in that place right now. Like, I'm in a place where there's still more work to always do. And there's always going to be work to do, like, no matter what. And, you know, I've put in a lot of work, but I'm okay now knowing that I'm single and that I'm open to waiting for that person. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just something that I want. So and just as he stated, like, there's still people around you. There should still be people around you that check you about yourself. Like, you know, like, we need that. And you know, it's very different because it's a lot more closer. And I feel like we still do need that at some point. Like, I don't think it's okay for us to like think to ourselves like in that level of insanity of like, nah, like, never. It's okay. Like I don't know. I feel like there's like, you kind of go through stages, but if something's meant for you, like, and you want to go through it, you will go through it. But I just wanted to bring that back up because he did state that. Go ahead, Diamond, play devil's advocate.
Damn. I just also want to bring up the fact that I think self-love is great, and I think that it's good for people to have that. I don't genuinely think that majority of people are single by choice, is all I'm gonna say. I think if you're to that extent and you're single by choice, fine, all more power to you. But I think majority of people in the back of their head, it's not like I don't want to be in a relationship and I just want to be single. You always still want to be in a relationship. And a lot of people, whether it's their own insecurities, they don't fit the narrative of society, mental disorders, whatever the case, disabilities, a lot of things. But I don't feel like a lot of people, if they had the choice, would be single. I think a lot of it is out of their control due to mainly lack of this will go back to that self-love, or at least having more confidence in yourself. To pursue and not wait and be pursued. Yeah, that's my only devil's advocate for that. We have a couple other people on the panel though that haven't spoke. Hey. Hey.
I was gonna say I wouldn't, but I don't think anyone is wrong in anything that they said or how they feel. I would just come at it from a different point of view, like, or from the opposite of kind of like, so like Angie said that like, in a lot of ways, social media has made relationships harder in certain ways. What I would say is, well, to directly answer the question, I don't think that like cultivating a relationship in and of itself is difficult. I think that maintaining it is kind of difficult because, you know, it does take work to maintain that relationship, but has it become more difficult? I guess it just depends on your perspective and what you're looking for. So like I was gonna say, Angie said that like social media has made relationships harder, but like think about the things that exist because of the technology that we have at our disposal that our parents and stuff didn't have. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like our parents didn't have like, hey, what's your love language type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't a thing for them. But for us, it's more of like that's more of a more important thing that you hear like in the dating and relationship world and stuff like that. Because it helps like other people look at like life and relationships through a different like lens that maybe they otherwise wouldn't be able to look through it. So in that regard, like, so that's a form of social media that has made getting to know, understanding, getting to know somebody or just a partner or whatever has been like a little bit easier. There's actually I haven't tried it or anything, I just heard about it. There's like a dating app called Paired, where you and your partner both put in information. Like they ask you a question like, I don't know, like what's your favorite food? Your top 3 favorite foods. And then ask your partner the same thing. And then you, I guess, like compare your answers to try and better understand where each other, like what your likes are, where each other's coming from. You know, questions just like this that we're being asked, but like, you know, it asks your partner kind of like away from you. So like they can answer it honestly, you can answer it honestly, you can kind of go over it together kind of thing. So I really just think that it just kind of depends on maybe your perspective. If you're a person who just like, yo, I just want to sling it, I don't want no relationship, I just want to be slinging it out here, like that's gotten easier for you because now you have Tinder, you have this, you have that. Maybe if you're a person looking for something more meaningful, you might look at, you know, a Tinder and think that, you know, that's not for me, just because like you feel maybe that it's meant for this type of group and not meant for that type of group. So I don't know, like I just think it kind of depends, but I don't always want to just say that it is the media aspect of it, because like I do kind of agree that like at our cores we're social creatures. You know, like what was the number one thing that was a problem during the pandemic? We couldn't get out, we couldn't go anywhere, we couldn't talk to people, we couldn't experience things, we couldn't, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's just, I guess, another way. I don't think anyone's wrong. I think you're both bring up good points. I just think it's another way to look at it.
I also do want to say that I feel like, you know, I understand your point of view, but I also see it in the terms of way deeper than that. Like, I feel like social media has made everything so accessible, but it has damaged relationships to a certain extent, because a lot of this like meaningful, and when we see people and like what now healthy looks like, is very different. And we all have to say like trauma is one of those things, right? Like we have to deal with our traumas, we have to deal with our insecurities, inadequacy, our moments where we may not feel our all. And I feel like nowadays when that happens, and that's why when Hassan's point states nobody wants to really stay, it's like when something doesn't go your way, or when something goes left, or when you're just in it for that, like you're trying to go in it just for sex, you know, it becomes so much harder for the people that actually do want something. Or just in general, you're also limiting yourself and stopping yourself from gaining something greater. I don't think that nowadays relationships are seen as like, damn, like, hey, I want to be in one. I think that idea of it has gotten left a lot. Like it's just more like, oh well, okay, whatever you want to do, you know. But it takes away from the beauty of it. And granted, to each his own, right? Like you choose whatever path you want to choose, but I feel like majority is definitely, that's why I say it's rough. We've been saying that in the last 2 panels, like it's rough. So I just wanted to throw that gem in there. Ariel and John, if you guys want to add anything.
I want to say that I think everyone that comes into your life, it's karmic. Like everyone's going to teach you something. All kinds of relationship is going to teach you something or the else. And I'm very old school. Never use dating apps. Never going to use dating apps. I believe in meeting person to person. I see my grandparents, how they met each other and how they are having their relationships. If you are in a toxic relationship and if you get out of it, you're going to bloom. But if you meet someone, you're going to bloom still. So like it depends on the perspective. Sometimes it is important for you to like be with someone in a relationship. But at the same time, it is important for you to love yourself as well. And if you're not able, like it's a balance. So I feel like there should be a balance for both the things, you know, like loving someone, but at the same time loving yourself.
I guess I'll go. Oh, it's a little hard to get the end of the stick because like I do agree with a lot of what everyone said, like self-love, a lot of the topics that were brought upon. But to answer the question directly, do you think it has been harder to have meaningful I think so. I do think so. I think that like everyone, well, not everyone, but like a lot of people said here, it's just I feel like we have a bundle of options now. I feel like if I'm at a bagel shop and I see a pretty girl, I'm like, oh, she's pretty.
It's big game. Go ahead.
I feel like, oh, she's pretty, but I also have the option to go on Tinder and probably find somebody that looks better. I feel like we have kind of filtered our options to being like, it's not just about physical appearance or just emotional. It's about physical appearance. It's about what do I want in that person? What do I think I want? But you ultimately end up with a really pretty girl and, you know, inside it's like, damn, this is not what I wanted. And that's where it becomes toxic and stuff. And it's all about the choices you make. I'm a huge believer in that. Just like you need to start making choices for yourself. If you think you made the wrong one, just do the right one. I can't answer the question of has it always been hard, because I can't speak on like, yeah, I can speak on like my parents and stuff, but like I don't know to the extent of what they went through, so I can only speak of now. Is it hard now? I would say so, but I also do think if you do put the effort to put yourself out there, which a lot of people are not willing to, or just don't want to, or just like, oh, whenever I meet somebody, I'll meet somebody. If I meet somebody, then I'll meet somebody, and then I'll be with them. You know what I mean? That's kind of my thoughts. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah, bro. I can definitely agree. Thank you for making it to the end there, Ariel. I know it's hard to be the last person to kind of sum it up, but no, everybody kind of hit the nail on the head. You know, everyone has their own little hammer, but at the same time, it's the same nail going into the board. Like relationships, it takes two, or if you're polyamorous, it takes however many to make it work. Like at the end of the day, it really just depends on the situation and the perspective.